Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Lore and Loot Morrowind. Now that we have reached the lofty rank of Master, we can go back and continue to work on our Stronghold. We can do this at Magister rank as well. As always, we need to speak with Lunella Laren over in Sadrith Mora. When we ask about upgrading our stronghold, she will tell us that she has big plans for us. If we find her the book called Secrets of the Dwemer and Homunculi, she will be able to give us Dwemer constructs as guards for our stronghold. She says this would be the first time since the fall of Resdayn a Telvanni stronghold would be guarded by such machines. She warns us that the book is located in a vampire-infested Dwemer ruin of Galam Deus, and tells us that the ruins are to the southwest of our stronghold. This place is extremely dangerous, so we must be well prepared before we venture forth. But great! If we get this book, the Secrets of the Dwemer and Homunculi, we'll have our very own Dwemer Centurion guards. And something crazy that she said, we would have the first stronghold guarded by these creations of the dwarves since Resdayn fell. Resdayn, of course, being the name of Morrowind before the Battle of Red Mountain, which happened in the First Era, the year 700. That was 3,543 years ago. That's amazing. But we mustn't get ahead of ourselves, as Galam Deus will be our toughest challenge yet. Heading south from our stronghold, there is a bridge spanning a river of lava, which we can cross. Rounding the corner, we can see the great observatory of Galam Deus through the mist. Galam Deus is the home to Clan Burn, one of the three great vampire clans of Vardenfell, the other being the Aunde and the Quora. We don't have time to go into any great depth into the vampire clans, but what I can say is that the Burn clan is the clan known for its speed and agility. As foes, all vampires are dangerous creatures, but the Burn clan in particular needs to be taken seriously, as they are incredibly fast and can close the distance before you can blink. We enter the ruin of Galam Deus and let our eyes adjust to the darkness. Around the corner, we encounter our first Nightwalker. We summon our Dremora, and we endure a tense yet awkward silence before the Fiend makes the first move. Its name was Eloy, and we must be careful, for vampires drain your life force with their touch and can transmit the disease, porphyric hemophilia, which will eventually lead to vampirism. This disease can also be transmitted when you search the remains of one of these fell beasts. The most valuable item we can get from Eloy is her vampire dust, an extremely rare alchemical ingredient. We follow the hallway forward, being careful around each and every corner, until we run into the second of these blood-sucking fiends, Ildogesto, who walks in front of us up ahead. Startled, we immediately take a step back and avoid a frost attack as our Dremora enters the fray. After slaying our summons, The creature, with speed that completely takes us by surprise, rushes towards us. We barely get our clan fear spell off, and we make a run for it. All we can hear is the sound of battle as Ildogesto and our clan fear, Chomps, go at it toe to toe. On its fetid corpse, Ildogesto has a key, the aptly named key to Galamdeus, and we take it. Around the next corner, we see another figure, but this is no vampire. It appears to be a mortal being. When we speak to him, he says his name is Cattle, and that he is slave and cattle of the clan. Essentially, this poor sod and others like him are food for the vampires. They have met with a terrible fate. Moving forward, we see two doors. The one on the right leads to a new area, so we go through the one ahead first, using the key to Galamdeus to avoid the traps. However, we are spotted immediately by the vampire Arenara, and must quickly call the Atronak trio to arms. Looks like a poor cattle was caught in the fray, but such is the life of cattle. Up ahead, we see the shirtless Gergio and attempt a sneak attack. Apparently we missed somehow, so we go back and try again. Apparently our fireball was hitting some obstacle and exploding before it hit its target, but somehow that didn't alert this guy. Let's get his attention. In this room we see a lot of treasure, but we mustn't be distracted. There are still creatures of the night about. Ahead, we see movement through the cracks of the door, but we are spotted first. The vampire called Leone rushes forward, opens the door, and starts pelting our Dremora with shuriken, stunning him over and over, making it impossible for him to do anything, so we throw Chomps into the fray to aid in the battle. We hear the noises of summoning, so we can only assume another vampire has joined Leone in the fight, and have no choice but to summon our Storm Atronak to level the playing field. Indeed, Jermia the Summoner had rushed in to help her friend. Still, we cannot get distracted with loot, as there is a whole nother section to explore. Plus, we are here for one particular book, and that takes priority. We prepare ourselves to enter this next area, as we have no idea what lies beyond these doors. And it's a good thing we did too, because immediately upon entering, we are spotted by a Dwemer Centurion. We summon our Dremora, but the Centurion has the high ground, and our Dremora gets quickly overpowered. We have to summon the Clan Fear for backup. Up ahead, we see another figure. This foolish vampire has neither heard nor seen us, so we preemptively strike her with a fireball. Turns out she was a civilian. But no time to ponder our mistake, as a second Steam Centurion spots us from the second floor and comes down to do battle. It defeats both the Clanfear and Dremora, and we must take matters into our own hands this time and defeat a foe. If you want something done right. Making our way upstairs, we remain vigilant, sneaking around corners until we see a Khajiit. Its face is turned away from us, so we cannot tell if it is cattle or if it is one of the vile creatures. It finally reveals its normal face, and we move forward. In the adjacent room is definitely a vampire, but again, for some reason, our spells keep getting caught on the wall. It takes many shots and one dead Khajiit to finally strike the intended target, Famana, who dies at the hand of our summons. Sneaking ahead, we are immediately spotted by Riberio, who casts a counterspell as we cast ours. No matter, we dodge and let our soldiers take care of the issue. We must continue forth, and so, stepping over the corpses of our fallen foes, we continue up the stairs. At the far end of this second floor chamber, we see a robed figure, and we again attempt fireballs at a distance, but irritatingly, the issue continues. We miss time and time again before finally getting the creature's attention. Clasomo is his name, and he runs forward and gets defeated, as they all have. Finally, we come to the door to the final chamber. We are spotted almost as soon as we open the door. This is none other than Raxel Byrne, the master of this vampire clan. Presumably he would be a tough foe to battle, but wave after wave after wave of our Daedra finish him off for good. In the room we see the giant Dwemer telescope we saw from outside as Chops casts an approving look towards us. On the table ahead we see the book we came looking for, Secrets of the Dwemer Animunculi. Opening it, we see plans and figures on how to construct one of the sphere centurions we have seen in other Dwemer ruins. Lunella Laren will be pleased. But first, it is now time for us to go back and recover all of the loot we left behind. First, a ruby lies next to the book on the table, as well as a Daedra heart. On the body of Raxel Byrne, we find only vampire dust, and so we move on to Clasomo, who also only has vampire dust. Below we see Riberio, who had nothing of value but his dust, and Famana, who also had nothing worth taking. This fiery chamber had nothing of value. Even the Dwemer kegs only had a couple of jewels. By the body of the Nord, who we totally killed by accident, we see a skeleton, and the book Vampires of Vardenfell, Volume 2, which is a rare and expensive book, so that's a nice find. Back in the previous section, we can once again search what we missed. Arinara was apparently the clan's armorer, and she had quite the assortment of repair hammers, including the valuable master's repair hammers, which we take. Gergio had an exquisite ring, but nothing else. The large chests we did not check are all locked with level 50 locks, which we can magically open with Undusi's open lock. Inside this first one is a good assortment of armor, including some glass boots, which are worth a hefty 8,000 gold. The cattle here objects to our stealing, but honestly, you gotta be kidding me, bro. The next chest contains a bunch of weapons, most of which are not worth taking, but a handful of ebony throwing stars catches our eye. If we had more room in our inventory, perhaps a few of these items, they would be worth taking, but as it stands, we're almost full as it is. Jeremiah in the next room had nothing of value, and neither did Leone. The shelf here has the book Antecedent of Dwemer Law, which we already read before, and we gave a copy to Balladus Telvanni, so we don't need this one. The chest here has 150 gold. This other chest here had some thieving tools. Nothing worth talking about. Finally, the chest at the very end of the room. It isn't locked, but it is trapped. And sure, we can cast Absorb Spell and be done with it. We cast the spell and open the chest. But we don't actually absorb the spell and get hit with an incredibly horrible poison spell. Inside the chest is naught but a stupid Dwemer mace, so this was not worth it at all. Now, this spell is low-key extremely dangerous because though it only drains a little bit of health at a time, its duration is astronomically long. We slowly start to panic with the realization that this spell will kill us if we aren't constantly healing, yet our healing can barely keep up. Searching for spells, enchanted items, or potions, we try anything to mitigate the damage before finally downing a potion right on the brink of death, and the spell dissipates. Safe once again, we return to the room with the armory, and we remember we saw out of the corner of our eye one of the most valuable and rare pieces of equipment you can find in the entire game. Daedric boots. At a weight of 60, these bad boys weigh a ton, but they are worth an eye-watering 20,000 drakes. Interestingly, these are only one of 2 sets in the entire game, the other being worn by Divaithfir. So not only are these extremely valuable, they are extremely rare. We can now leave, and we can do so by casting our recall spell. After dropping off all of our loot in our stronghold, we can make our way back to Sadrith Mora to give Lunella the book.
What do you want of me?
Upon handing over the book, she tells us that this book, along with the schematics we previously gave her, will be enough to unravel the secrets of the Dwemer constructs. In a few days, our stronghold will be ready. We spend the next 5 days in Ferris Hole in the Wall, regaling the other patrons with the story of our adventure in Galamdeus, our fights with the vampires, and the loot found therein. After 5 days, we receive a new entry in our journal indicating that it is time to return to our now finished stronghold. Our stronghold materializes through the mist, towering above the desolate ground below, truly a wizard's tower worthy of our position. Thus ends the third and final phase of the quest Stronghold. But we're not done yet. Let us take a tour of our new home. Entering, we are greeted by one of the new guards. Below and to the left used to be a dead end, Now, this leads down to our dungeon. Ah, nice. Truthfully, though, there's nothing that is interesting down here at all. We have no prisoners, so the place is completely empty. Back upstairs, this room is the same as it was before, but there is a new door which leads to the upper tower. Here we see stairs going up as well as an open ceiling, which we must levitate to. Doing so, we can reach the dining room, with seating for ourselves and 3 guests. Exactly across this large chamber is our master bedroom. A large bed in the middle of the room with a desk next to it. On the desk is volume 3 of the Charwick Koenig letters, which increases our mysticism by 1. If we continue and levitate even higher, we will reach a door that leads directly to the exterior. Exiting, we are lucky to be greeted by quite a view. Though this place is barren and desolate, on a clear day like today, we can see a great distance. Dwemer ruins appear through the hazy afternoon skies, their pointed tops mimicking the pointed rocky landscape. The place has felt rather empty and lonely, even for a Telvanni wizard such as ourselves, but worry not. Metal constructs are not the only company we keep, for surrounding our tower are the living quarters of a few attendants. Lindrissa Seleth is an enchanter who will provide enchanting services, crazily enough, as well as selling a variety of scrolls and magical items. Next to her house lives Tunilla Omavel, who sells spells and potions. Nearby is Govrin Menace, who only sells potions, but it's a good little assortment. And finally, next to the front door of our tower is Ferenna Aurelius' house. She is a spellmaker and can assist in making us custom spells, and also sells a few spells herself. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the full and complete story of the House Telvanni Stronghold quest. We have explored ruins, fought vampires, and captured the souls of powerful Daedra. And finally, we have a home of our own. In the next episode of Lore and Loot, we will finally complete the House Telvanni questline and become the next Archmagister of House Telvanni. I hope you will join me. Feel free to leave a comment below if you have any questions or suggestions. Subscribe for more Morrowind content, and as always, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Lore and Loot Morrowind, and I'll see you next time.